Arcadian Vanguard presents The Wrestling News in your daily wrestling newscast for Thursday, July 13th, 2023. Good morning, I'm Mike Sempervive. We begin today with last night's episode of AEW Dynamite broadcast live on TBS from the SaskTel Center in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. The show closed with a brawl between the Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club, with Pac announced as the fifth member of the BCC's team for the Blood and Guts match on next week's Dynamite.
He kicked Kenny.
Get it! Get it! Get it! You have no idea how long I have waited for this. You shut at my nose bone and you extorted me for my championship. Look at me, Kenny! I'm the fifth member, and now you pay the price.
Also during the segment, the Elite introduced Kota Ibushi as their fifth member. In the opening match of the show, Chris Jericho beat Commander via submission with the Lion Tamer. After the match, Don Callis appeared to continue his efforts to persuade Jericho to join his faction.
The whole wrestling world, Chris, is buzzing just at the possibility of Chris Jericho, the greatest of all time, joining the Don Callis family.
The finals of the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament were set as MJF and Adam Cole beat Big Bill and Brian Cage, and Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia beat Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. The teams of MJF and Cole and Guevara and Garcia are set to meet in the finals next week, with the winner getting a shot at the AEW World Tag Team title. In other results, Ruby Soho pinned Sky Blue in an Owen Hart Women's Tournament match. Hook attacked Jack Perry during a backstage interview segment, and Swerve Strickland defeated debuting second-generation wrestler Nick Wayne. It was later announced that Wayne had officially signed with AEW. In ratings news, last Tuesday's episode of NXT, featuring an appearance by the Judgment Day, scored the third highest total audience of the year for the show, as well as the second highest key demographic rating for the year, according to WrestleNomics. A total of 671,000 viewers tuned into USA Network, up nearly a third from last week's audience of 508,000. The rating in the key 18 to 49-year-old demographic was .20, representing 256,000 viewers, and up more than 50% from last week's .13 key demo rating. In National Wrestling Alliance news, EC3 relinquished the NWA National Championship on Tuesday's edition of NWA Power on YouTube, with the broadcast team noting that he was doing so in order to challenge NWA World Champion Tyrus at the NWA's 75th anniversary event at the end of August in St. Louis.
Holding the gold, a dominant champion, as Silas Mason once again bloodied in this battle over the national. Wait a minute.
What did he do?
He just dropped the title. Wait a minute. EC3, he's relinquishing the title. He's relinquishing the title to go after Tyrus at 75. He wants Tyrus at 75. That's your main event, ladies and gentlemen. EC3 versus Tyrus in St. Louis at NWA 75. An incredible moment.
EC3 gave up the belt after a successful defense against Thrillbilly Silas Mason, his fourth defense of the gold since winning it last April from Scion. And in some unfortunate news, Mike Hallock, best known to fans for his infamous run as Mantar in the WWF in the mid-1990s, has passed away at the age of 55, according to an announcement made yesterday morning on Facebook by his daughter Demi. Hallock revealed in a 2019 interview that he had been living with type 2 diabetes. Hallock broke into the business in 1991 as Bruiser Mestino in Otto Wanz's Germany-based Catch Wrestling Association. He was brought to the WWF in October 1994 and given the Mantar gimmick, including the recognizable bullhead prop, as well as Jim Cornette as his manager. The character would often be cited by WWE in later years as one of the company's most bizarre and notorious. After Hallock departed the WWF the following summer, he returned to his Mestino persona, spending time in ECW, back in the CWA, as well as the USWA, where he held the USWA Unified World title for 1 week. He briefly returned to the WWF in the later 90s as both Goldust bodyguard and Tank, a short-lived member of the Truth Commission. Hallock stepped away from the business at the end of the 90s but continued to take occasional independent dates using both his Mastino and Mantar personas, his most recent being a 2019 Battle Royal appearance for GCW. Once again, Mike Mantar Hallock has passed away at the age of 55. And before we leave you today, we'd like to remind you that however you consume your content, you can find the wrestling news 24 hours a day and 7 days a week across social media. On Twitter, follow us at Wrestling News AV. Our Facebook page is also Wrestling News AV. The Wrestling News can also be found on the Arcadian Vanguard YouTube page. And for those who utilize Amazon Echo devices, just tell Alexa to play the Wrestling News podcast. And remember to make sure you add podcast at the end. Once again, for daily updates, breaking news, and more, follow the Wrestling News across social media. And that's the news for today. If anything happens, we will be here to tell you about it. No clickbait, no paywall, just the Wrestling News. The Wrestling News is a division of Arcadian Vanguard, and the Wrestling Newscast is a production of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network.